Have you ever held on to something, not because it was perfect, but because it held every imperfection of someone you loved? This isn't just a story about a house. It's about a father, a son, and what it really means to come home. My name is Marcus. And this is the house my father built with his own 2 hands. Every nail, every brick, every stubborn creak in the floorboards, he touched it all. It wasn't the biggest house, but it was strong. Like him. Like the values he stood for. Like the lessons he never said aloud, but etched into every wall, every beam, every square inch of this place. My father, Luther, was a man of few words but a million actions. He was a mechanic by trade, but to me, he was part architect, part philosopher, part superhero. He could fix a car with duct tape and a wrench, and somehow fix my broken heart with a silent look that said, "I see you, son." He built this house the year I was born. Said he wanted to give me a solid foundation, not just in wood and stone, but in life. And he did. He built it for us, for Sunday dinners filled with laughter and cornbread, for birthdays and scraped knees, for first heartbreaks and second chances. It wasn't just a house. It was a shelter. A place where pain could be softened by presence. Where joy lingered in the corners. Where even the quiet had warmth. But time doesn't ask for permission before it moves in. And neither does silence. After Mama passed, everything changed. Dad didn't say much. He just kept fixing things, like if he could repair enough, maybe he wouldn't feel so broken himself. I remember one winter night when I was 8, the heater had gone out. Mom wrapped us in blankets and made cocoa on the stovetop while Dad disappeared into the basement with a toolbox. Hours later, we heard the clanking stop. He walked upstairs, his face and hands smeared with soot, looked at us, and simply said, "Warm now." And we were. That was him, never a man of grand gestures, but always a man of quiet rescue. I moved away after college. Got married. Had 2 daughters. Built a life with fewer creaky floors and more convenience. I visited when I could, though not as often as I should have. He never complained, but I saw it in how he'd always be standing by the window, 5 minutes early, pretending he just happened to be there. Those windows, by the way, still fog up the same way on cold mornings. I used to draw pictures on them as a kid. My daughters do the same now. The day I told him I was moving to the city, he was underneath the Buick in the garage. I said it like I was pulling off a Band-Aid. Got a job offer. Good pay. We'll be moving. He didn't get out right away. Just said, "You do what you gotta do. Just don't forget what built you." Then the call came. Stroke. Mild, they said. But enough to shake me. I came home immediately. And walking into that house, it felt like stepping into a museum of him. His boots were still by the door. His recliner still had that torn armrest. The old cracked mug still sat in the sink, world's okayest dad. It hurt. Seeing the man I once feared a little, now needing help to tie his own shoes. And then, as if he'd been waiting for the right moment, he said it, "Marcus, we gotta talk about the house." His voice was low, gravelly, like it always got when he meant business. He said it was time to sell. I laughed, bitterly. Then I got angry. Sell the house? This house? Are you serious? He looked at me, calm as always, and said the words I wasn't ready to hear, "I built it for you." That night, I walked through the house alone. Touched the banister he sanded smooth. Ran my fingers across the doorframe still marked with my childhood height. I sat in the corner of the garage where we built a treehouse ladder together when I was 10. I could still hear his voice saying, "Measure twice, cut once." I could smell the sawdust, almost hear the faint hum of the radio he always kept tuned to the blues. And I realized something, he wasn't asking me to let go of the house. He was telling me that he already had. For him, the house had done its job. It raised me. It held our memories. It gave him a place to grieve, to hope, to build. And now, he was ready to pass the baton. But me? I was still clutching to the blueprints of my childhood, terrified that letting go of this house meant letting go of him. I thought about every echo the walls had carried. Every door slammed in anger, every laugh that floated down the hall, every time I came home late and crept past his room, only to find the hallway light left on, just in case. The next morning, I asked my daughters what they thought of the place. They ran outside laughing, chasing each other through the same backyard I used to think was endless. They came back with grass stains and dandelions, breathless from joy. "Daddy, can we come here every weekend?" my youngest asked. Her cheeks were red, her curls bouncing with each excited breath. Maybe this wasn't about staying or selling. Maybe it was about honoring what this place had been, and letting it become something new. A bridge between generations. A home not frozen in time, but living in it. Later that afternoon, I found Dad sitting on the porch swing he built the summer after Mama died. I sat next to him. The swing creaked softly beneath our weight, a familiar melody to our shared silence. "I remember when you built this," I said. "Didn't know what else to do with my hands," he replied. "I was wrong," I told him. "About the house. About what it means." He looked at me, with that same tired wisdom in his eyes. "It means whatever you need it to mean. For me, it meant survival. For you, maybe it's legacy." So we made a different decision. Dad moved in with us. And we kept the house. Not as a museum. As a living, breathing part of our family. Now it's the place where cousins gather. Where grandma's recipes get remixed and passed down. Where the stories of Pop Luther get bigger and funnier each year. Where my oldest daughter, inspired by her granddad, wants to learn carpentry. She's taken to sketching out plans for birdhouses and little shelves, and every weekend, they huddle together in the garage, sanding and sawing, measuring and laughing. Sometimes we visit just to fix something, even if it doesn't need fixing. Just to keep the spirit alive. Just to hear the creak in the hallway that still startles us like it did when we were kids. I catch myself glancing toward the garage, half expecting to see Dad under that Buick again, radio playing softly, a wrench in hand, lost in a rhythm only he understood. Every now and then, I take a walk around the neighborhood. People still wave and smile like they did when I was a kid riding my bike down the sidewalk. Some neighbors haven't changed at all. Mr. Jenkins still tends to his garden in that oversized straw hat. Miss Caroline still bakes cookies for the block. The house feels like part of that tradition, a witness to it all. It breathes with the rhythm of the neighborhood, keeping time with the heartbeat of the street. On the wall of the living room, we hung up a framed blueprint of the house. The original. Yellowed edges, pencil marks, measurements scribbled in Dad's neat, blocky handwriting. It's more than a keepsake. It's a reminder of how things begin. Of how dreams take shape one line at a time. And beside it, we added a new one, my daughter's first drawing of a treehouse she wants to build with Pop this summer. A beginning of a new chapter, side by side with the old. I see my daughters learning what it means to be rooted. What it means to belong to something greater than themselves. And I know now, this house was never just walls and wood. It was a vessel. A message. A legacy. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't letting go of the house, it's realizing that love doesn't live in the walls. It lives in the people who walked them. In the voices that echo, even when the rooms fall silent. This was the house my father built. Now, it's the home we all belong to. And one day, I hope my daughters will tell their children the same story. About a man named Luther, and the house he built with love. About a house that stood tall through storms and time, because its foundation was love.